It's 2002. I'm 6 years old, about to head to my friend Michael's house. We'll swim, play Nintendo 64, and just hang out. We go through his home, and his brother's playing an Xbox. Like me, his family got an Xbox for Christmas. Only he didn't get that Batman game or Spy Hunter game like we did. I watched a game I've never seen before. It was vast and wide open environment like Mario 64, but a shooter like GoldenEye. Only a little different. My friend Michael turned to me and said, "Have you ever played Halo?" This game would soon change my life, but how did it come about? Well, you see, it was all developed by a company called Bungie. Bungie was like its cousin. That's not a slight against Bungie. In fact, they're one of my all-time favorite developers. But while it had John Carmack and John Romero, Bungie had two college students, Alex Soropian and Jason Jones. While id was busy making Wolfenstein and Doom for the PC, Bungie had a game called Pathways into Darkness, and later, the Marathon trilogy for Apple. Back then, Apple weren't exactly gaming platforms, kind of like they are now. It's not exactly the top tier form of gaming. But Bungie filled in that gap with these games, and soon after, they developed the Myth RTS series. After wrapping up Myth 2, they soon decided to work on their next project, Halo. Being showed off at Macworld in 1999, Bungie was soon shifted from an RTS to a third-person shooter to a first-person shooter. As they began to perfect this game, Microsoft came in with an offer to purchase Bungie, and this once Mac exclusive shifted into being an Xbox launch title. Although Halo was later ported over to the PC as well as the Mac, it made the Xbox the brand success it was for years to come. For the most part. And this game 25 years later is still holding on strong. With a remake and port to PlayStation, which we'll get into all that later, I just wanted to reminisce about this game. You see, when I got my Xbox on Christmas 2001, I wish I knew that little game on its corner of its box would be so monumental to me. After I went to my friend Michael's house and I saw Halo, that game stuck in my brain for days. My brother eventually came up to me and said, "We're gonna go buy Halo." My brother just got his license. I was only 6 or 7 years old. And, well, my first car ride with him was to go to Walmart and buy Halo, and we bought it. One of my all-time favorite games, like seriously top 10, maybe even 5. And one of its sequels is my all-time favorite, which I may or may not touch on in the future as well. But that's my history with the game. What about the actual game itself? Now, I will admit, I am playing this on the Master Chief Collection on my Series X. Okay, I can hear the purist. I do own the game on the OG Xbox and as well as the 360. I also own a 360 and anniversary game from 15 years ago. My god, I'm getting old. But I don't have a capture card. And I'm not going to drag it all up, hook it up, and do all that just for the original game. That may or may not work. And I did want to touch on some anniversary elements as well. So I will be playing on the Xbox Series X with the original graphics and sound. But overall, I just want to give a brief summary of this game and its levels, and go through what I experienced as a kid. Towards the end, I will try to say nice things about Combat Evolved Anniversary, try to at least, and things I didn't like, as well as my hopes for Combat Evolved going forward. I do revisit this game about every year or so, so this time I tried doing slightly different. I pretended there was no Halo 2, 3, 4, 5, Infinite, Reach Wars, Cold Protocol book, Fall of Reach. Actually, Fall of Reach came out before that. Halo Legends. I just pretended it was just Halo Combat Evolved. Didn't know if there was going to be a sequel. Overall, this is how it went. First off, let's review the weapons this game has. The M9 HE-DP grenade. Think of your standard frag grenade. They'll roll, bounce, and, well, explode. Then the beast of the M16 Magnum, or also known as the Halo Combat Evolved Magnum. This is a pistol with a 2x scope and will be your best friend in this game. Then we have the classic MA5B Assault Rifle. A common in the series, what makes this one so unique is it holds 60 rounds. Your classic pump gauge shotgun M90, the S2 AM sniper with 2x and 10x zoom while having the ability to use night vision. The M19 SSM rocket launcher, or Spanker. While most of these use a magazine-type ammo, the Covenant weapons are primarily battery-operated, such as a plasma rifle, an auto plasma submachine gun. The plasma pistol, while weak, can charge for a deadly shot. The Needler, another Covenant submachine gun, only unlike the others, this one isn't battery powered. Instead, it uses these heat-seeking crystals for ammo, and with several shots, can cause quite an explosion. And I can't forget the plasma grenades, pretty much your standard sticky grenades. Now there are energy swords, laser turrets, and fuel rod cannons that enemies may operate, but we cannot use in this game. We also have vehicles that we both can operate and not operate as well. Starting with what we can operate, such as the UNSC Warthog, a 3-man vehicle with a turret on the back, UNSC Scorpion tank, which is a tank. The Covenant Ghost, a 1-man vehicle that both moves and also shoots plasma bullets, Covenant Turret, and the Covenant Banshee, a 1-man assault aircraft. As far as the vehicles you don't operate, there's the UNSC Pelican and a Covenant Spirit. Both are transport ships that drop troops off. The Covenant Wraith, basically their tank, but doesn't fire directly, instead fires more like a mortar cannon. And the UNSC Longsword, a UNSC fighter jet that comes very in handy at the end. Although I'm playing on the Master Chief Collection, it would be a crime not to mention the original Halo Combat Evolved title menu. I do find it disappointing that custom menus don't exist without mods for the MCC, but regardless, however you start this game, it begins with you looking out in the cold, deep space, as the iconic Pillar of Autumn comes in like the Tantive 4 from Star Wars A New Hope, as we're introduced to Captain Keyes and an AI known as Cortana. They're discussing the situation at hand. This ship, the Pillar of Autumn, just barely escaped a planet called Reach, where a battle ensued from a group called the Covenant. Now the Covenant, this alien faction, has followed us through lightspeed, even though we made a blind jump. As Captain Keyes looks out onto that Halo ring and distant space, he looks at its salvation, and he knows he needs to ready forces. Keyes decides to initiate something called Cold Protocol, a defensive procedure as forces are soon to get ready. As everyone does, we see everyone gear up, as we get one of the most badass alien homages by the GOAT, Sergeant Avery Johnson.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
This is not a drill. I repeat.
Once again, it is our job to finish what the Fly Force started. We are leaving this ship platoon and engaging the Covenant on solid ground. When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away laughing. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time.
Attention all personnel. We are re-engaging the enemy. External and internal contact imminent.
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
Badass as he is though, he's not the main character. That in fact is the Master Chief, who wakes up with something from a legend. His crew members stare at him in awe. After the cryo chamber finally opens and the smoke clears the room, we switch to Master Chief's perspective and learn a quick tutorial. We learn how to not only move, but how our health and shields work as well. Although it's not exactly regenerative health that became a staple for the franchise with its sequel, this definitely laid the groundwork, and although you rely on health packs, we definitely see that this is a forerunner that became a staple in this genre. Soon after this, we're gonna get to the weapons tutorial, but we're getting word that the captain needs us, so we need to stroll our way to the captain. As we do this—
Door! Security! Intruders in Cryo 2! Please, Johnny!
Sam! Sam! Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here.
Okay, we really need to go to the captain, as we follow this crew member who will take us directly to the captain. Okay, never mind. We need to find our own way. As we navigate to the ship, we act as a fly on the wall, seeing who the Covenant are. Without the ability to attack, we also see how humanity is on the back foot firsthand. Eventually, you do make your way up to the captain's bridge. Here, we get a real sense of not only who Keyes and Master Chief is, but Cortana, your AI companion, is as well. You immediately understand all three of their personalities. Cortana with her sarcastic and smart cunningness, Chief with his stoicism, and Captain Keyes, who's a little bit of both. We see this as Keyes replies to Cortana's remark about going down with the ship. But overall, this is where our real journey begins. We're ordered to take control of Cortana, and protect her at all costs, while giving us his weapon.
I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
From here, we have more freedom in the game. We can head to the nearest life pod, but as you leave the bridge, you finally equip your pistol. You can head back to the captain's bridge to stare out into the vastness of space, to get awe and mystery that awaits us on that Halo ring we're forced to seek salvation on, or you can just...
What the hell are you doing?
Security to the bridge. The Master Chief has gone rampant.
Okay, I can't tell you how many times I did this as a child. In fact, anyone that grew up with this game did this countless times. Doing this, however, you can't really proceed with the game due to the onslaught of invincible Marines on your tail. After you've had your fun, you can embark on the real journey from here. You navigate through the Pillar of Autumn through its dark corridors, fighting Covenant with that amazing, iconic Combat Evolved pistol, and looking in desperation as you're witnessing various life pods leave the ship. There's another downside to this. As more life pods are leaving, this allows an opening for the Covenant. They have these sort of entrance pods that enter in the ship that can allow more of them into the Pillar of Autumn. There is an upside to this, however. There is their first power-up, Overshield. This is one of the power-ups you do have access into this game. Activating this, of course, just gives you stronger shields that don't regenerate. After picking this up and navigating your way through the Pillar of Autumn, you finally make your way to the last escape pod. As you're about to enter this escape pod, you pick up one Marine. As that escape pod takes off, against Cortana's wishes, you decide to stand and not sit down, so you can stare in majesty and be blinded by the awe of that Halo ring that I mentioned so many times. This might be something that you might regret later. However, you see the captain bringing the Pillar of Autumn down with the ship, forcing it down, taking him and the Covenant aboard the ship for one hell of a ride.
Chief? Chief, can you hear me? At last.
Remember how I said Master Chief refused to sit down when he entered the escape pod? Well, he may or may not have caused a demise for these Marines as we crash down into the ring. We wake up with all these Marines past unconsciousness, YouTube guidelines and all. Then this makes sense, as you are a superhuman wearing 1,000-pound armor bouncing around an escape pod with people tied up. You're fine, but they're not. There's no time to dwell on this though. Our Covenant dropship isn't bound, so you need to keep moving. But as you begin to leave the scene, how could you leave in such a hurry? You began to look around at the atmosphere this game really beholds. You had a sense of it with the space, but this ring, you see the real natural formation everything is. It's alien but natural. There's just something behind it that you will not see in any other game. Halo games all have great atmosphere. I'm not trying to mention the sequels here right now, but something particular about this Halo has an atmosphere that cannot be matched. Every time I play this game, and keep in mind, I play this 25-year-old game at least once a year. You look at the water, look at the cliffs, the grass, and yeah, the graphics may be a little dated, but something about it is just so memorizing and so unique and so visually appealing. No game has atmosphere like this one. After you're done sightseeing, you make your way through a ring, eventually finding a group of Marines who you not only end up saving by helping fight off the group of Covenant, you also help evacuate them and send them to a camp. As you meet the GOAT, well, the second GOAT, Foehammer. After doing this, Foehammer gives you two things, a new objective and a Warthog. You see, Foehammer and Cortana both realize that there's other crash landed Marines who also need our assistance. So from here, you begin making your way through the ring. As you go through a cave that,
On a natural formation.
ladies and gentlemen, the smartest AI mankind has ever made. Considering how modern AI works, it's not surprising. Yet, one thing I want to mention is touch on the atmosphere again. As you go through this cave, you do see it is clearly not a natural formation. Oh god. But there's something on this ring. This ring was developed by someone clearly, and there's something down there. Some sort of dark secret hidden at the ring that we hinted out further and further throughout the game. As you make your way out this cave, you begin rescuing some more Marines. One group underground, one group in the hills, and another group on top of some rocks. The latter two have some sniping in there, but eventually Cortana does find where Captain Keyes is being held. After you rescue these two groups of Marines, you know where to head to next. To rescue the captain. Such beginning the third level, Truth and Reconciliation.
We should move out, Lieutenant, and then we'll need your help on a rescue mission.
Okay, let's just stop for a second. Some of you may have noticed I've been using certain camos that you unlock in the Master Chief Collection. While these are great and I actually really do enjoy them for replay value, I did take them off for future levels, just because I really want to be authentic to the original game as much as I can for these recordings. So much so that even as I started playing this game, I actually grabbed out my Big Duke replica controller from Hyperkin to play the game just like I originally did when I was 6 or 7 years old. But enough of that. Let's get back into Truth and Reconciliation. Now, as we described, this level is all about rescuing Captain Keyes, who's locked up aboard the Covenant ship Truth and Reconciliation. Pillar Bottom, Truth and Reconciliation, yeah, all these ships' names in the game series are badass, I'll admit. But you know what's also badass? This level in particular. Simply because, I know I talk about the atmosphere a lot in this game, but trust me, this level is just something special with its music. Just vibe with me. Like I said, I can say that for all levels and 90% of the music in this game. Another thing I love about this level is specifically its gameplay. While most of the game you're running around blasting, you can take a stealthy approach to it. Although it's not perfect, this is one part where I really hope the campaign Evolved remake really kind of improves on. I say this because you start to level out trying to stealthily snipe a few Covenant enemies, and you make your way across this canyon up until a grav lift. Now, this part is great, however, like I said, Campaign Evolved can improve on this simply by doing something simple, by giving us better stealth mechanics, or even giving us such tools such as a silencer, like the classic silenced SMG from ODST, or even giving us a silenced sniper. But I'm breaking my own rules here, and we're just trying to focus on 2001 here. On your way to the grav lift, you can find a new power-up, Active Camo, which does exactly what it does. It turns you invisible. As you make your way to the grav lift, you definitely won't last being stealthed the whole way. This is one part where you enter a firefight, and as you do, you take out waves of Covenant enemies up until you take on 2 hunters. Now, here's something I want to kind of mention. The last level, Halo, introduced you to a new enemy, the Jackals. This level, however, introduces you to the Hunters. This is something we're going to touch on more, but it seems like we're always being introduced to new enemy variants. Now, the Hunters are almost an enemy that was ported from the classic Bungie series Marathon. The trick is you either gotta take these guys with a headshot that's basically in between their armors, or take out their armor through the back. Finally, you make your way up to the Truth and Reconciliation. God, I just love that name. Take on more enemy swarms, and now you navigate your way through this alien corridor. Another thing that I love about this level is we've seen how humanity is, and now we get to explore the Covenant ship. We really do get a sense of an alien feel here. Not like the Forerunners, something completely different. It's definitely its own unique thing. Although the architect is confusing, it's just that. It's alien. And we finally make our way to Captain Keyes, who mentions how he's been overhearing what the Covenant have been saying. That Halo, this thing we're on, is some sort of weapon. And there's 2 places, a control room and some sort of weapon stockpile up. So we have a new plan. First, we escape. Then, we're going to split up again. The captain's going to find this weapon cache, while we look for Halo's control room, so we can use this weapon. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking that this Halo is probably some sort of like Death Star. At least that's what I thought when I was a kid. As we make our way out fighting with the captain, you gotta be careful. Which is kind of ironic, since the last time we saw the captain, we did this.
What the hell are you doing?
Security to the bridge.
We eventually make our way to the Covenant Bridge, where we find out that Foehammer can't pick us up. There's just too many on her tail. So, we have to find our own way out. We hijack a spirit ship. Covenant forces are trying to stop us with 2 hunters, where Captain Keyes basically body slams them. Before we head out into that night sky, and beginning our next level, the Silent Cartographer.
The Covenant believe that what they call the Silent Cartographer is somewhere under this island. The Cartographer is a map room that will lead us to Halo's control center. The island has multiple structures and installations. One of them contains the map room.
Okay, I'm trying to only give a quick synopsis of each level, but how can I with Silent Cartographer? This is a classic level, and every time this game is being remade or ported, this is a level that showed off in demos or trailers. It drops you off in a D-Day type style battle, and soon after fighting your way through the beachfront, Bowhammer drops you up a warthog that you and a group of Marines can take to explore until you find this foreigner structure. However, as you begin driving through the foreigner structure, go inside and the door is locked. Of course, you could be like me and try to ram through the warthog. Honestly, me and thousands of other people done this, but I'll be honest, it usually doesn't work. So you have to either kind of try to jam out that warthog from the doorway or fell at it like this.
Echo 419 to ground teams.
Now from here, you're further set to explore the island. One thing me and my friends always did when we played this game as kids is we used to drive out into the ocean, seeing how far we can go. I remember thinking that you can just keep going and going to somehow drive up to another point of the ring. Of course, you're hit with the invisible wall, but that didn't stop us from playing bumper cars with each other in the middle of the ocean. Eventually, after you stop messing around from here, you continue throughout the level. As you're driving around, you find another pathway into foreigner structure. Of course, this is further guarded by some Covenant patrols. One thing that's always been funny and stuck out to me with this level is taking out these hunters. As you remember, me and my brother got this game when I was around 6 or 7 years old. So when we're battling these elites, I was so worried, petrified of my parents barging in and seeing us. My parents let us play little violent video games, but the moment there was any blood in it, no, we had to take it away. It could be green blood or blue blood, but if it was red, that was a no-go. Normal combat, no GTA. So fighting the hunters terrified me because I felt that their blood was way too close to human blood. So, as I mentioned, I was terrified of my parents barging in through that door and taking away this masterpiece of a game. Of course, this never happened, and I got to experience one of the greatest games of all time during my childhood. But after defeating them, you can make your way down to the level, and you have more sense of that foreboding mystery. Remember how we said in that Halo level that you have a growing sense of every time you enter these foreigner structures? There's some greater mystery involved. This is only prevalent in this level. So you make your way down to this room, you unlock that door from earlier, and seeing an elite pop out.
That should open the door that leads into the main shaft.
As even after you make your way out of here, Covenant forces are on their way. You grab some rocket launchers that Cortana ordered, and you begin your making your way to the Silent Cartographer. As you do, that mystery that I talked about just a few moments ago, it's even more prevalent here. As you understand, this Halo ring is deep. It goes on for miles down below. As you continue making your way downtown, rather down these levels, you finally make your way to Silent Cartographer, downloading this map. And Cortana kind of realizes this is a honeycomb type structure. Now, one thing I always like to do, those rockets that Cortana ordered, I like to save them. I like to rocket jump myself over here where there's an active camo. Of course, you're gonna have a couple failed attempts if you're like me, but eventually make your way up to the active camo, take out these jackals, and make your way up, being a badass, taking out Covenant patrols as you make your way up back to the rally point where Bowhammer's situated at. And I'll be honest, this part doesn't make too much sense for me. So we know where the control room is at over here, sort of, and we're over here. So I don't really personally understand why we can't just go from the control room from here to there. I feel like that'd be quicker. Instead, we're going to the inner layer of the honeycombs of the ring all around to get where the control room is at. It doesn't make much sense to me. But regardless, we start one of my favorite levels next. Actually, it's a snow level. I just love snow levels. Whether it's Mario 64, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, like I said, for the rest of the game, it's a vibe. But you don't start out in the snow immediately. In fact, you start in an underground foreigner structure, battling your way through the Covenant. I will say, this is one part that can get a little repetitive. Not too bad, however. You just keep making your way through a structure, fighting Covenant in the same type of rooms over and over again. You will take an elevator down, and there's a few parts where you can sneak up on sleeping grunts, and if you're very lucky, you may even make your way stealthily. Like I said, this is one part of the game that can really use a better stealth mechanic. Eventually, you do make your way outside into these large bridges, and as you do, you hear Sergeant Johnson land with his fire team battling Covenant forces on the ground. As you make your way down, you end up in the battlefield helping out those Marines, getting a Warthog, and eventually find a tank. Now, this thing is a beast. You haven't really used anything like this, but this tank is just so iconic. I just love the Halo 1 tank. As you fight your way through another battlefield, you head downstairs again, making your way through this 400 structure that ends in a cave, as you find yourself in another battlefield, fighting your way through the ice and snow again, until you enter another 400 structure. Get what I'm saying? How I'm explaining it sounds like it's repetitive, but it's not too bad, I promise you. You enter more through room by room, taking out Covenant patrols, eventually until you reach this natural bridge formation. Now, I'll be honest, you're supposed to go through that door over there and make your way down and up to that 400 structure. I never do that. In fact, I always take my sniper rifle, take out this elite trying to get in, steal the Banshee from the Covenant forces, and take it directly to that 400 structure where the control room is. After we do this, we upload Cortana into the control room. She's learning all of Halo's secrets, including its dark ones. But she also learns where the captain is, and that we need to stop him. There's not enough time to explain why we don't have enough time to explain. We just need to get to the captain while Cortana stays behind in the control room, leading into level 343 Guilty Spark.
The captain, we've got to stop the captain.
Keys?
The weapons cache he's looking for, it's not really... We can't let him get inside.
I don't understand.
There's no time. Get out of here, find keys, stop him. Before it's too late!
What to say about the level 343 Guilty Spark? First off, this is really where the game begins to be different. That awe and wonder you had for the ring is overtaken with the dark, foreboding mystery you felt earlier. As Felheimer drops you off, and you off alone, in a swamp, you see Covenant cowering away. Now keep in mind, we've seen grunts and even jackals like this, but something seems off here. You navigate your way through this swamp. As you do, you hear UNSC weapons firing, but no Marines. You do see, however, something running around at a distance, but you can't confirm if they are friend or foe. Your radar seems to be confused as well, as you see pings, but nothing is there. Remember, this is our first level without Cortana. You are not only physically alone, but I guess literally alone without your companion. Eventually, you make your way to, surprise, another 400 structure. The elevator came down for you, just like a haunted house's doors opening up just for you, inviting you in. As you move through the structure, it's more and more destroyed. Lights are flickering, light bridges that you've came across earlier in the game aren't working properly. Even the doors seem broken or just damaged. I'm not the first one to say this, but this reminds me of the classic Haunted Mansion movie or game. You start off in a haunted forest or swamp before entering. Most specifically, it reminds me of the first Resident Evil or Evil Dead 2. Like I said, I'm not the first to say it. In fact, I think Hidden Xperia said this exact thing, and as much as I'm trying to stay original here, to my own thoughts, he said it first, and I gotta admit, it's very true, and exactly how I feel. I have clear memories of playing this game late at night, wrapped around a blanket, feeling anxiety around every corner. You soon run into a Marine, finally. But he isn't excited or happy to see you. Instead, he's panicking, shooting at anything that moves, including you. You can put him out of his misery or just keep moving. After you make it past him, you grab this shotgun and go down this descending hallway, and where the cutscene begins, showing Chief enter a sealed door with dead soldiers. As Chief reaches over to attach Private Jenkins' helmet cam recording, he sees Jenkins, Johnson, Captain Keyes, and other groups of Marines made their way through the structure.
You always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge. Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us.
You ask them real nice next time you see them, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
LZ looks clear.
Okay, let's move! What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something? I got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
He's got contact. Blast them. They're not Covenant. They're just staring through us. What the? Oh, no!
Corporal, do you copy? Over. Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
But
I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
Sarge! Listen!
What is that?
Where's that coming from, Mendoza?
And came across a parasitic-like life form where this group met their end.
Hold still! Hold still! Let him have it! Ah! Sergeant, we're surrounded. God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
There are too many,
Don't
Sarge!
even think about it, Marine.
Oh, this is local!
Jenkins!
Chief ends the recording, now looking around the very same room. He hears that same parasite crawl around and push the doors open. As you blast your way through them thinking this is a fairly simple task, a full disfigured elite barges through the door you originally entered through. As you fight your way through his fortress through parasites and a few Covenant stragglers, there's a good point to make here. This is where a game pulls a reverse Uno card, where those levels you played earlier, you play again, this time in reverse. As you scramble your way out of this place that once felt like a mansion with locked doors begin to feel like a maze akin to that Overlook Hotel. As you make your way to an elevator, it may drop, as that feeling of once being a super soldier turns into a feeling of hopelessness. Playing this 25 years later still gives me a bit of terror, I'm not gonna lie to you. Eventually make your way up top, where a group of Marines are relieved to see you.
Structure, what's going on down there? I'm tracking movement all over the place.
Sir, thank God you're here. We've been lost out here for hours. After we lost contact with the rest of the mission, we headed for the RV point, and then these things, they ambushed us. We gotta get out of here.
As you begin making your way through a swamp, fighting endless waves of this parasite until you meet the monitor of the ring, 343 Guilty Spark, who informs us that this parasite, known as the Flood, has been released, and he knows how to stop them. You two transport into the next level, the library. Okay, you know I said almost every level is my favorite. This is not one. In fact, this is one level I hope the remake drastically redoes. Okay, so like I said, the game begins to pretty much make you do levels over again except in reverse. While this one's not literally a reversal, but remember that level Halo, they had all this free room to explore at your own pace? Well, this is the exact opposite of that. You're forced to make your way across this library, not a reading library, but a DNA library, with floods of, well, flood enemies, as 343 takes a sweet ass time opening doors, and you keep riding elevators over and over again. But what's weird is we have to go all the way down and then all the way up just so we can grab this key that activates Halo's defense system. I know I've been glazing the other levels, but this is one level that just feels like a chore. Especially just because this guy can just float anywhere he wants to go, and then on top of that, when you finally get the key, he just takes it away. It just... This level's useless. Just why didn't he just float up, grab it, and then get Master Chief after? No, we have to do this whole song and dance. It makes no sense. But after you grab that key, you get transported into the control room where we first left Cortana, beginning to Betrayals. So we begin my favorite cutscene in the game, where we start in a control room, and Chief immediately looks for Cortana, then proceeds to the control panel. As he begins to put the key in, Cortana reveals herself and explains what Halo truly is.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do? You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever.
We learned that Halo's defense system and what it is built for are one and the same. And it's not a sort of Death Star thing. This thing does not destroy ships or planets. It destroys life. The Flood's food. Cortana informs us, and we realize activating the ring not only stops the Flood and Covenant, it eliminates everyone, including Earth. An ancient alien species known as the Forerunners who built this ring made this and fired the ring around 100,000 years ago in a last effort to stop the Flood. So Chief and Cortana make a new enemy, 343 Guilty Spark and his Sentinels. Basically these little drones that helped you in the library and shoot lasers, but overall eliminating them is fairly easy. As you make your way out, you can understand that this level is basically Assault in the Control Room, but backwards with Flood. That's going to be repeated a lot here. And it's not a complaint, but as you battle the Flood, you also battle the Covenant. But also, UNSC is gone. Only UNSC vehicles, weapons, and bodies are left behind. Like I mentioned, you enter those rooms that were repeated before, but this time following the opposite direction of the arrows. You see glass ceilings and structures in these rooms explode. You aren't going back to where Foehammer dropped you off. Instead, you're going around grabbing Banshees and reach these 3 pulse generators and destroying them simply just by touching them. Some are guarded by Covenant, Flood, or Sentinels. As you do this, you realize Captain Keyes is alive. In fact, he's on the Truth and Reconciliation, the same Covenant ship you rescued him from earlier. He just can't stay away from that ship. But with Captain Keyes, you can not only rendezvous with him, but also, well, grab his keys to activate the Crash Pillar of Autumn's self-destruct sequence, as that will not only have enough force to blow itself up, but the Halo ring as well, ending not only this Covenant armada, but the Flood as well, who are rapidly growing on this ring. Cortana informs us she knows how 343 Guilty Spark's teleportation works. It's a little risky, but they try it once to get to the captain. Beginning in the next level, Keyes.
Something tells me I'm not gonna like this.
But I'm pretty sure I can pull it in your suit without permanently damaging your shields. Needless to say, I think we should only try this once.
Do it.
Okay, this is basically Truth and Reconciliation, but say with me now, backwards and with Flood. Okay, got that out of the way, hate to sound like a broken record, and I'm probably going to say it one more time. But keep in mind, as you land on this level, this is Cortana's first time using this teleportation, so you land on your head.
Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
As you proceed forward, you land on a section of the Truth and Reconciliation ship. You immediately hear Keyes warning us to keep going on without him, leave him behind. Keyes sounds to be locked in a tough battle with no hope of getting out, but you and Cortana are determined to save him. As we proceed, we see a grunt running for his life as a Flood form chases him. Continuing on, you notice that half the floor is missing in the structure. You can try to hug the wall to fit through, but just full of surprises, and we're not done yet. You wake up in this pool of green water among a battlefield between Flood and Covenant forces, as the Covenant are fighting the Flood tirelessly as they fear the Flood can repair their ship and take it and to spread across the galaxy. Say what you want about the Covenant, but they're putting up a hell of a fight. As you fight your way through, like before, you have terror around every corner as the Flood cover cliffs, and despite the Covenant efforts, the Flood are winning. You move through these ravines and cliffs. You fight not just the Flood, but your flashlight, hoping it stays lit so you can make your way through here to see what upcoming enemies. It's pure terror and reminds me a lot of Doom 3. You eventually do find a sniper rifle. I always like to help these hunters out by sniping out Flood so I can take them out solo. Try to at least. The sniper rifle against the Flood is just horrendous. You might have a better chance picking up a plasma pistol and taking out these carrier forms. But after this, you can find a cliff with a grab lift. Like before on the Truth and Reconciliation, taking your way up to the same room, but it's empty and destroyed. As you continue to fight through it, this once clean ship now destroyed, and witness the Flood gathering bodies to feed on. Continue to fight through these narrow hallways, fighting the Flood and Covenant. We hear the captain screams as Cortana notices his vitals are dropping. We eventually make it to the Covenant bridge, and we see why he begged us to leave in those screams.
No human life signs detected. The captain, he's one of them.
As a kid, I was confused about this. I thought it was meant to be like a twist the whole time that the captain was actually part of a flood. Keep in mind, I was like 6. But as I grew older, I understood the tragedy of this scene. The captain who he fought with side by side and went down with the ship, who looked out for his men, has been consumed by the flood. And if you look deeper into the Halo lore, like I said, I'm trying to stick with the original game, but context makes it so much more impactful. Once you know that they're evolving a proto-grave mine, basically think of a queen bee for the flood. And I will speak about some anniversary stuff later, but that terminal that is located on this level is my favorite, as you see the struggle with Captain Keyes fighting for his mind against the flood. But as you come to realize the captain is gone, and Chief and Cortana, who have been alone for the last several missions, lost the captain. Due to this, Chief needs to put the captain out of his misery and grab his override chip, as you and Cortana proceed to the hangar bay to grab a Banshee for the final level, the Maw.
It'll hold.
We're not gonna make it.
We'll make it.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you?
Going back to the horse you rode in on, something about this level is so cumbersome. In retrospect, we're back on the Pillar of Autumn, where this amazing journey started. Only it's empty, destroyed. No UNSC life, only Covenant fragments fighting through the flood and sentinels. As you proceed to the bridge, which was once filled with various active terminals and various crew members, just filled with fire and abandonment, you proceed to start the self-destruct sequence in the Pillar of Autumn until it's interrupted by 343 Guilty Spark, who's taking all the information from the Pillar of Autumn records, learning what humanity has been up to the past several thousand years. As Chief and Cortana resort to Plan B, breaking the engine shields to start a manual self-destruct system in the ship. You make your way up to the armory, arming yourself with some grenades and rockets, and what is supposed to be a sort of boss battle. See, Halo has a weird history of boss battles. Some that are just, anyway, this is Combat Evolved. It's basically just avoiding sentinels and flood while hitting these exhaust ports, which are kind of like weak points, akin to, say, a Resident Evil boss. Only less tricky because it's not moving around. All you have to do is open these exhaust ports for them to open up. After doing this 4 times, the self-destruct system begins. You begin making your way to a service elevator, taking out a stalking elite and his grunt companions with ease. And you make it down to some warthogs. Grabbing one, you use it to race your way through a ship and find out Foehammer is still alive. You 3 plan a rendezvous point to be picked up by her and make it safely off the ring, racing your way through the ship, avoiding various Covenant, floods, and sentinels. Eventually, you make your way out to an outside bridge. As much as I love this part, it doesn't make much sense. This track inside and with this sort of outside bridge, I don't know how this can work in this ship, but let's not focus on that. Instead, Foehammer is coming to pick us up, but Covenant Banshees are on her tail. And as much as you try to fight it and try to gun him down, it's inevitable.
Aid! I'm hit! Mayday! Mayday! There's one weapon to stop the hell! I can't hold her! I can't hold her!
Echo 419! She's gone. Calculating alternate escape route.
Foehammer's gone, just like Keyes and the rest. We can't mourn though. We need to keep moving. We make a Hail Mary of a jump and drive to the nearest hangar, where one longsword ship remains. Hopping out of our Warthog, we make a final run to it and narrowly avoid the flood. As the Pillar of Autumn begins to explode, so does Halo Ring with it. As Chief and Cortana look out the window, seeing the destruction of this Forerunner wonder, Chief begins to wonder, was he the only survivor? Cortana gives confirmation with this, that along with Keyes and Foehammer, there's no other UNSC signal, just dust and echoes, leaving Chief and Cortana, the sole survivors of this ring, to drift out into space. Until Halo 2, and this book, and this book, and this book. But getting back to the racetrack, I just want to share the excitement that level contained as a kid. You had all this anxiety, hoping that you make it just in time. I think it was the first time I beat it actually. I felt so accomplished. And coincidentally, my family made some steaks. It seems unrelated, but beating this game and finishing the night off with a steak felt like a sort of reward after such a great journey. I can't describe just how many times I played and beat this game, especially as a kid. But every time just feels special. Just like those times I was hoping my parents wouldn't barge in because of the blood, or me being so afraid late at night on 343 Guilty Spark, or playing with my friends on Silent Cartographer, playing bumper carts in the middle of the ocean, or those nights that I stared out in the sky, looking at the stars in this game, with just wonder. Or that night that I beat this game and got rewarded a steak. Maybe another night, I just had top ramen. But every time I played this game, whether I was a kid or an adult, it was special. And now 25 years later, they're remaking this masterpiece. Again.
Halo. It's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
Now some of you may notice I only touched the campaign, and while multiplayer is great and replaying it was a lot of fun, most of my memories lay in the campaign, as I mostly played alone. And if me and my friends did play together, we usually played co-op. I do have two great memories. One playing this on the Master Chief Collection with some old high school friends, years after it launched, as we drank the night away on Sidewinder. More impactful one was definitely when I was younger. One of my brother's friends having a party right before he left for the Marines and the Middle East. A giant LAN game of Halo was going on. I played a few rounds, and I remember him saying when he gets back, me and him are going to play Halo 3 and buy an Xbox 360. And as bleak as that sounds, it was a fond memory of not only playing the game with him, but my last memory of him. Now this remake is dropping in days time. It's not the first remake, however. In 2011, we had Combat Evolved Anniversary. I guess it's more of a remaster. While this is not a bad game, this was basically just Combat Evolved with Halo Reach graphics, and while I do love Reach, its art style does not fit this game. Majority of the new graphics just lose that mystery and aura. I have tried to find some preferences in the Halo Anniversary remake, and I'll be honest, it's very few and far in between. In fact, I did like how some of the beach looked on Silent Cartographer in the 2011 remake, but hated the Forerunner structures, and I will admit, I do like how on 2 Betrayals you can look up in the night and see the moon in the sky. And how some of the snow looks, but majority of the time, the 2011 anniversary remakes just are not it. Even with how the snow looks in the remake, I prefer the ambience of the original. They make things too bright, and overly input details on items that don't really need to be there. The simplicity of the original just brought a unique sci-fi look we don't see too much anymore. Now, the saving grace of the remake is you can play with the original graphics, and of course, they added some cool things such as schools and my favorite, terminals. In fact, I mentioned the Keys terminal is by far my favorite, and there are so many great ones here. But as far as this 2026 remake, what do I want? Well, I mentioned new weapons, which they are adding, and I have heard they are also adding new terminals and schools, which I love and look forward to tracking down. But as far as actual gameplay, I want a little more than just graphics overhaul like Anniversary. But I do want the graphics to stay faithful. I actually have liked what I've seen so far, both for the graphics and some additions on these levels. I've only seen Silent Cartographer in the Assault Control Room. I do know every day there's a new level being revealed, a new gameplay being shown off, but I haven't been keeping up with everything. So if there's something that I have, by the time I'm done recording this, I haven't played or seen any more details of this game other than just gameplay on the Assault Control Room and Silent Cartographer. So far, I love how you can drive the Warthog in new places in Silent Cartographer, and how there is some variety in the rooms in Assault. I like how you can drive the Wraith and the additional seat in the Warthog as well. But what about the other levels? For Pillar of Autumn, I would say just more parts of the ship to explore would be great. For Halo, I honestly would like more Marines to save with a larger landscape to explore. Truth and Reconciliation, I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. silenced weapons. Like I mentioned, the classic Halo ODST SMG or Silent Sniper would be a godsend, but that seems unlikely. Maybe just better stealth options, honestly. 343 Guilty Spark. Oh boy. To be honest, do like from what I have seen in certain stills, the art building on this swamp and making it darker. I do hope to keep this a surprise of the flood, and I do hope we get more subtle hint, maybe even inside the Forerunner structure. We only saw that hit outside the structure until their final reveal, but maybe seeing one in your corner of your eye in a hallway and run past. As you turn your head, it's already gone. But definitely don't let that surprise go to waste. I do admit, I never understand the complaints about sprint, but for this level it does worry me, as the slow pace of this level does make it unique. Library, toss it, I don't care, do whatever, just make it a cutscene. This is, I wouldn't complain. Okay, but in all serious, I wouldn't mind a complete overhaul and rework for this one. To Betrayals. I would like to find some UNSC stragglers. Make it a lot rarer than before. I always did find it odd that after the Flood's reveal, we never saw any of the UNSC. I know the Flood is a super intergalactic parasite, but the Covenant still have stragglers, so why not the UNSC? Keys. To be honest, I think it would be cool to go to the Covenant detention centers like before and see some Marines in their jail cells cowering in fear, but grateful they're locked away from this horror. And lastly, the Maw. I actually would really like if they added new additions to the engine room, making it like you actually go in the engine to blow it up to pieces. And lastly, the Warthog race. I would find it really cool if they got rid of the bridge and track and make it just make more sense. Maybe go through some damaged pathways through this ship. From what I've seen in the concept art, that seems to be a situation. Okay, other than that, maybe add some Covenant engineers and ODSTs. I'm also sad that other than maybe quality of life updates to fix glitches, there will be no support or multiplayer. So other than the campaign and Johnson cheat missions, that'll be it. I find that really lacking, and honestly, I would have loved if they added bonus missions or extra modes like how the Resident Evil remakes had great extras, where you play almost mini levels or survival modes that built off the main stories. But who knows, maybe wrong, and there is a surprise up their sleeve. I doubt it, but you can always have hope. Well guys, I'll be honest, I'm not the first one to bring up some comparisons and ideas for this video. I just want to share my history with this game and what I hope this upcoming remake can do. I do know they're making a Halo 2 and 3 remake, and hopefully we can get a Reach remake. I do want to thank y'all for watching. I want to be honest, I have been working on this video for almost a year. And I know it's not special, but I had to start this video from scratch almost a second time. So many delays. I actually moved, so I have a whole room just for studio and gaming, which maybe I'll work on that next in a little tour. Yeah, I do have a lot more videos coming up on here and my other channel for the whole total of 50 people or so that are subscribed between the two. I love my audience on both, and I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for just being that first 50 and for watching. Subscribe if you want to see what's up in the future. Leave a comment and tell me what you want to see in some remakes as well. Thank you guys. Hey guys, so those who watched my other video on my other channel, you knew I did a painting. Well, this is a painting I did for this video. This isn't gonna be something I always do, just something I did. Me and my girlfriend were just painting while watching a movie. I had Halo on in mind as I was thinking about this video, so I just kind of drew the Halo ring, well, painted the Halo ring from the first game. There's supposed to be that gas planet, you know, that's in the right next to Halo ring, the moon, and then the Halo ring itself. So I don't know, thought I'd show you guys for a little outro, but yeah. Also, there's Odysseus.